But again, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it, and I look forward to the next of upcoming projects.
Steven, muchas gracias en serio por la oportunidad. Estamos muy agradecidos. Y Sonor, man, is the legend. Estamos muy agradecidos por querer saber sobre qué pasará en Freedom's Path, man.
Freedom's Path is very close to my heart. It's a project we've been working on for a very long time. It probably goes back for me about five years. For the director and producer writer of the film, it's been going on 10 to 12 years. It's a project that he created from a script base for Sundance Festival Writers Lab, and he won an award for that. And he's been trying to make this film for several years. He came to me and sent me the script. A couple of times I ignored his email, and then the second and third time he'd sent me a short that he did on the film, and I was really captivated by it. It was very well shot. The story was pretty intriguing. So I asked for the script, got the script, read the script, and from that moment on, I was hooked on the film. There's not a lot I can really give away of the film itself, other than the fact that it has been out in the festival circuit. It has done really, really well. It's based during the Civil War period. It's basically about a white Union soldier who escapes battle. I shouldn't say escape battle. He basically gets wounded by himself because he's trying to flee from the Confederate soldiers, and he gets found by a runaway slave, and they form a bond and friendship. So the story is really about them. And about this Union soldier realizing his position in the world and the friendship between the two, and realizes that he wants to help them versus be fighting a war that really has been very difficult for him to be part of. So I play a bad guy. I think that's partly because of my British accent. I don't know what it is, but I seem to constantly play bad guys in films. I grew out my beard, and I'm pretty unrecognizable in the film, but it's a lot of fun.
And yeah, man, talking about new productions, and you know that this saga is huge, and even more in Latin America. Man, what we can expect, being one of the people that bring back this saga from Kickboxer Armageddon, man. Go ahead. In fact, how was this adventure? Because I remember when Jean-Claude Van Damme was talking about the media and in the media about the combat from Kickboxer, and now keeps going. What can we wait, man?
Yeah, Kickboxer's very close to my heart too. That was a great film to work on. I worked on both Kickboxer Vengeance and Kickboxer Retaliation, playing Joseph King, Joe King by name, Joe King by nature. He was a fun character to play, and working with Jean-Claude Van Damme was an honor. It was a very surreal experience for me. I've quoted this a few times in interviews, that my first experience with Jean-Claude came on the set of Kickboxer Vengeance, and I've been waiting all day to do my scene. And Jean-Claude came on the set. I'd met him a couple of times prior, but this was my big scene, right? I'm going to be on screen with Jean-Claude playing in the reboot of Kickboxer, which is a film I grew up with. And I'm standing there getting ready to do my scene. And just before the director called action, he called cut. So I had to wait for a few minutes whilst he was setting the camera. And during this period of time, I just saw across the way Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I suddenly came out of character, didn't know where I was. I was just in complete awe, as if I was in the film from the original. And all of a sudden, the director said action. And I'm lost. And I go running in, and I just blast my scene at Jean-Claude Van Damme. And Joe King was born at that point. It was a very, very cool scene. I kind of freaked Jean-Claude Van Damme out, I think, at the beginning, the way I flew in there. But it was a very memorable experience for me, and very proud to have been a part of that project, including Kickboxer Retaliation.
And talking about productions that we are waiting, I was so curious about one project in particular, because in fact, like Freedom Path, that is really different. Uh, what can we wait from Faulkner? The past is never dead. I really love the books. So what can we wait? In fact, you got three more productions that are stronger still, and this one. What can you tell us about these three productions, man?
We got several productions actually in the works. Some of the things are not disclosed yet, but one of the things that I found, especially with South America, and I love you guys down there. I have a lot of friends down in South Brazil that I've worked with, and especially in the UFC. A lot of the UFC fighters have become close friends of mine, and they're just such wonderful people. Everyone's always smiling, and I find that there's such a collaborative effort amongst people down there. Everyone wants to work together. Everybody wants to be a part of it. And that's one thing I've realized and noticed, especially in this genre of film, especially in the martial arts film. Kickboxer has done wonders for this genre down there. Everybody wanted to be on board, and because of the martial arts and the UFC connection, it brought a bigger audience to the film. So I get a lot of people texting me via social media wanting to talk to Joe King, which is kind of funny because that's the character and not me. But I realize that these films mean so much to people. So it's wonderful to be able to look to the future to bring more projects like this into circulation. Um, I know we're looking at the third installment of Kickboxer Armageddon. There's other things that are happening. I can't really give too much details away on where Kickboxer's going because I'm not sure how much has been released on that yet. But I do think that's going to open up some more doors for this genre over the next couple of years. I myself and one of my producing partners were looking at a project down in South Brazil to work with a group down there to bring a action thriller, Indiana Jones type of film to be actually filmed down in South Brazil. So those are some projects we're looking forward to that are undisclosed. One of the projects, like I said, I've already mentioned Freedom's Path. I'm super excited about that coming out. We're looking at another horror film that I'm working on that could possibly be coming to light here in the next few months. But COVID took a big turn in this industry for us. We had a lot of projects that were in production and getting ready to go into production, but everything got put on hold because of it. So that kind of put a hold on some of the projects that you see right now. Maybe I don't know where you've heard about some of the projects I'm working on, but some of those have been put on hiatus until we can get that working again. So I'm trying to think what I can say and what I can't say because I don't want to get into trouble for some things I mentioned that are not out there yet. But all I can say is that there's some exciting things happening in 23 and 24.
Wow, Andrés, eso sí es increíble, una increíble pregunta y una gran respuesta, Steven. Además, no solo nosotros en Colombia que admiramos tu trabajo, hay algo que sí te debo ser sincero, en Bogotá es tu fanaticada. O sea, yo no puedo competir con los de Bogotá, es increíble. Además, yo te quiero preguntar sobre Dark Force. Esta producción es muy diferente a lo que tú vas a hacer. ¿Por qué? Porque es algo de horror. ¿Cómo es tu experiencia en haber interpretado el Dr. Abel en terror?
And man, you're right. Not only in Brazil, man. In Colombia, and in fact, John was telling me about the fans that your work got in Bogota. We are from Cúcuta. It's not the northern Colombia, but yeah, man, here in Colombia is huge. And John was asking me about one of the productions that is therefore because it's a horror production, man. And you play here at Doctor. Tell me more about this. That is also a very different role and a very different production.
That is one of the films that is currently on hiatus. I have spoken with the production company frequently about it because it is a great role. I've read the script. The whole concept of the film is very, very cleverly written. But that is one of the casualties of COVID at this point. I do know that we were going to be shooting this in Romania. That was one of the places we were going to shoot for. but that again, like I said, is one of the things that I don't know too much about where we're going to go with it over the next few months. But I think that may be something, if it does come into light, that would most likely be in 2024. I'm trying to see if there's any update on that myself. Yeah, I don't see any updates on that, but that is one of the casualties. It is a good horror film. Some of the horror films that we did do, The Clearing with Liam McIntyre, that was a lot of fun. I mean, I always said that I would never do a zombie film just because I didn't want to get into that genre of those types of films, but I had a lot of fun doing it. I mean, what was alluring to me was the fact that there were really only 4 cast members: Liam McIntyre, Andrea, and Noel Sardale, and myself. So there was really only 4 of us in the film. Everyone else was a zombie, or camper at first that turned into zombies. So it was a movie about survival, but there was good action in it. I mean, I had a fight scene with Liam in the film. I don't know whether you saw it, but there's a lot of cool stories behind the scenes on that film. A lot of questions. I've actually watched interviews about The Clearing, because I didn't realize that zombie films have this whole huge following and genre. I mean, there are websites based on zombie films. So if you are not on the money, man, they drill you. They give you the third degree. We got some good reviews on it, and we got some bad ones. But overall and all, it's a fun film to watch. I highly recommend it to anyone to get out there, watch that film. It's a good evening watch. You won't be wasting your time, but it's entertainment, and that's what films are, right? I mean, we're here to entertain people, and if you can escape from reality for an hour and 20 minutes, then we've done our job. That's the way I look at movies. We're all storytellers. We want to tell the story the best way that we can, and it was told really well in that film, and it was a lot of fun. So that was one thing you should see. But yeah, I was looking forward to Dark Forces because Orlando was somebody I wanted to work with, and my character in the film is again another bad guy, but has a really cool arc to his character. But at the same time, there's a big twist in that film, which makes it fun, and I like twists.
And man, thank you for talking about the Clearing in this channel. It was one of the productions that we must love. In fact, I think Jhon got more questions about that movie. Jhon ya habló un poco de Clearing, pero complementa si deseas.
Bueno, ¿de la misma producción o de las otras dos?
Lo que desees. Él ya habló, dijo que, no sé si la viste, son solo 4 actores, el resto son zombies. Sí. Hay una muy buena escena de batalla entre él con Liam McIntyre. Dice que una de las producciones que más le gusta que hablen, pero pues continúa.
Hombre, mira, en The Clearing es algo impresionante y en Dow. O sea, es algo diferente, increíble. Yo solo quiero preguntarle, no solo por la experiencia, sino también, ¿qué opinión tienes sobre la inteligencia artificial en el futuro del cine, en Dow? Y también preguntarle en The Clearing sobre cómo te imaginas el apocalipsis zombie, si alguna vez sucediese en la vida real.
Man, in fact, Jhon got another question from The Clearing. How do you imagine the zombie apocalypse? And man, also talking about Doe, how do you feel working? Because if this movie is about IA, and now the IA is overtaking everything. So how do you feel? Because it's like reality meets fiction. Go ahead, man.
What I do for a living, I mean, I'm a producer as well, but what I love about acting is that you can take on a role and be something that you're not. You have to venture into that reality of whatever film you're in. The Clearing was a lot of fun because you've got a bunch of guys with makeup on coming at you with blood oozing out of their face, and you can either laugh or you can get into the scene. And I don't classify myself as a method actor, but I mean, deep down, I really am, because I show up on set and I am who I am. I am the character. I've been told by someone before, don't act, be yourself. But I'm like, I don't want to be myself. I like what I do and who I am, but when I'm acting, I like to become that person, that character. So when I'm in the apocalypse amongst all these zombies and I see these people coming to me, when you see my reactions, those are somewhat real because I'm imagining, I'm in that moment, and it's like running, right? When you go for a run and you get runner's high, I call it actor's high, because if you can get into that moment, you really do appreciate the art and those around you, and you feed off other actors. I mean, all the people I've worked with and all the films I've done, I've had such amazing talent to work with, professional, just amazing, abilities. I've had the fortunate luxury of working with these people, so I feed off them. And I do. I don't want to claim any style of acting or anything like that, because I've done them all. I've learned things from various different things, but I've learned mostly from just doing and being on set, working with the actors, and I feed off them. And when you look into their eye and they're delivering a sincere line to you, you can respond so well. So with that, the clearing was fun, but at the same time, it was terrifying, because getting into that whole scene with what was actually happening, it was a mind changer. I mean, my scenes with Liam, especially the fight scenes, they were somewhat real. I mean, he and I kind of went at it. We did our fight scene inside the cabin, and we had this fake glass, and I'm bringing it towards Liam, and his strength was pushing against my strength, and not that this glass would have hurt him because it was plastic, but it was covered in blood. He didn't want to get blood on his beautiful face. He didn't want to have to have makeup come in and clear him up. But I tell you what, if he wasn't holding my arm back, that was going to get him. But that's what brought in the realism of that scene, and we went at it. I mean, I came out with bruises and bad back after that, but when I saw the playbacks, I loved every minute of it. But Doe was a little different for me, because the story itself is very deep. It's a very, very good story. If you watch it, it really kind of takes into another twist and turn that takes you in a different direction. My character plays an ex-warden of a prison. And so I won't get into too much of the details, because I want people to watch the film. But my character, that as he comes onto the film, you see him later on in life, and he's hiding. He's fearful for his life. He's got this big secret that he doesn't want to reveal, and he knows that at any time, somebody's watching him, somebody's listening to him, and if he slips up, man, he's going to get into trouble. And that's what I went into that role with. I went into that role that I'm trying to hide. I'm trying to keep a secret. So that scene, when you see me in that film, I'm hiding a big secret, and I think you can see it. I mean, because I felt it. I felt guilty after the scene. When the scene was done, I felt like I was lying. But then at the same time, I felt, okay, well, I did my job. And if that can portray over the screen, then I've done my job. But that's what I like about acting. I feel if you can get that feeling inside you, and you come out really still being a part of that. I'm not talking about going home and talking to your wife or your husband or girlfriend, boyfriend in your character, because I think that's extreme. Some people do it. I think I applaud them. I think some of the best actors in the world do that. You hear stories about some of these A-listers taking their characters for 2-3 months. That's their process. And I think everyone has a process. You got other actors that just walk onto the stage and they're like, just give me my lines, and they deliver the lines. My background is stage. I did theater. I did live theater. So me working with an audience is what gets me going. It's what brings me out of character to just deliver a great performance. Whereas on film, it's you, the camera, the director, and about 7 or 8 other people just watching you. So you have to imagine, you have to get into character to be able to create that scenario.
Fuerte
Jhon,
aplauso.
increíble.
Bravo, Steven.
Wow.
No, man. Es increíble todo el recorrido, y eso que ahondamos lo mejor de usted. Y no, yo te quiero felicitar, no es una pregunta, te quiero felicitar porque hace mucho tiempo vi Jimbo y me pareció increíble. O sea, la vi en un estreno que había en un festival en línea, increíble.
Man, what you said is right. It was a great interview. covering little aspects because it's a huge career. Jhon is not a question. He wanna say that he watched Jimbo on a festival, on a movie festival online, and he really loved that project, man.
Yeah, Jimbo was fun. I had reservations about doing Jimbo at first because it was a short, and it was something for it was a college student, I think, that was doing this short. I took a big hiatus from acting. When I came to America, I worked on several pretty big movies, and I just didn't like the industry as to what it stood for at the time, and I wanted to build a family, and so I took a big, huge hiatus. But when I came back in 2016, back into this industry, I was doing Kickboxer. I really wanted to get my acting chops up to par. I wanted to go out there and challenge myself in every genre of film, and just dive deep into these projects. So I got this opportunity to play in Jimbo as Jimbo, and I really enjoyed the script. It was a fun script to do. I shouldn't probably say this, but Jimbo, his character, was dying of alcohol poisoning. Essentially, I mean, he had cirrhosis of the liver, and he knew he was going to probably die. He had a bad issue with his health, and that comes out at the very beginning of the film. But he's always drunk, always drinking, and I didn't want to. And again, this gets back to being the method acting, right? So you get into character. We were in Long Beach, and we were doing a scene at the lighthouse there, and I had about 2 hours break. So I went down. I probably shouldn't mention establishments and by name, but I went into this bar that was there, this restaurant bar, and I had makeup on, so my face was all pasty and white. I looked ill, and I wanted a drink. I thought, I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to take a shot and really get into this character, because this next scene, I was supposed to be really, really drunk. Now I can play drunk. That's not it's not a hard thing to do, really. If you can overdo it, but to be a tactful drunk, I knew what I wanted to do, but a little help might work. So I took a shot. And the bartender looked at me, and he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm okay." And I'd completely forgotten about my makeup. I forgot that I had big red circles under my eyes, pasty white face. I looked ill. So then I asked him for another one, and he goes, "Are you sure you're okay?" And I said, "No, I'm okay." And then he actually bought my drinks. I didn't have to pay for my drinks. He let me. He didn't know I was making a film. He just felt so bad for me because he thought I was really ill. And I went back and did the scene, and that scene you see me in, it's a little induced, but it was a lot of fun to do. But he was a fun director, and fun cast to work with, and it was a fun little project to do. And I've seen it a couple of times, and it makes me chuckle when I see it.
Oh, man, eso es excelente. De hecho, bueno, en estos pocos minutos que quedan, agradecerte tus redes sociales, un saludo para Colombia. Bueno, que estén pendientes de sus próximos proyectos.
We got a few minutes, but the camera is yours. Send a big hi to Colombia, to your fans, even in Brazil. Tell your social media so people can follow you. And if there is a project that people need to attend, go ahead, man.
Yeah, well, thank you very, very much for the interview. And Colombia, South America, I absolutely love you guys. You guys have been great to me. I mean, I would say most of my social media following is from all you guys. You guys have great comments, and you guys private message me all the time, and I welcome those questions. I love to answer them as best as I can. I guess what I would like to say to all of the budding filmmakers or people that want to be into acting, I was told once by a very wise man, never wait for Hollywood to allow you to act. You gotta take those steps forward. It's just like a job. There's no difference between what I do in the film industry versus working in an advertising agency or working any other career. You just got to put your hard work in and focus on that one thing you want to do and give it everything you've got. Nobody can tell you can't. As soon as somebody tells you can't do something, do it. Because those people, they're the people that can't do it. Those are the people that want to put you down, and you should never be put down in life. live every day for what it is and give everything you got, because you will get to where you want to be. And I'm looking forward to 23 and 24. Again, look out for me. Look, if you want to find out what I'm doing, what we're doing in South America, because we do have a couple of projects that we're working on, and they're big projects. So you will hear more about me in the upcoming year. Keep a lookout for it, and visit my Instagram. I don't go on Facebook that much. When you go on there, I have a couple of accounts. I have my actors account and I have my personal account. I don't do much on Facebook, but I do go on Instagram. I had someone doing my Instagram account for a while. I'm now on there myself. So if you want to talk to me, direct, message me, and I'll be there for you. But again, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it, and I look forward to the next couple of upcoming projects.
Steven, la verdad, gracias por esta maravillosa oportunidad. Siempre es un gusto, es un honor. Bienvenido siempre al canal y un honor, gracias.
Yeah, anytime.
We need you here to talk about the next project. I will tell that to Jhon. Jhon creo que vuelve para hablar de sus próximos proyectos.
Oh.
Man, you are always welcome.
Yeah, anytime. You just reach out to me anytime, and maybe in the next few months when things come to light and we know more about the South Brazil projects, I'll be more than happy to let you know where we stand and how everything's coming along. So absolutely.
Before we end, I will tell that to Jhon. Jhon, es que si hay un gran proyecto en Brasil, escribe en unos meses, te va a dar todo.
Perfect, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Con actores de la UFC, ¿no?
Wow, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Good weekend. Gracias.
Man. Thank you. Gracias. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Take care.